What is the most messed up thing you've seen at a bar?
One night at a dive bar, a guy pulled a live lizard out of his pocket and set it on the counter. Without hesitation, the bartender poured the lizard a tiny beer shot in a bottle cap. The man called it his emotional support lizard, and the little guy actually licked the beer. By the end of the night, people were lining up to take selfies with it, and the bartender even wrote "lizard-friendly bar" on the menu board.
Hands down, the most bizarre bar moment I've ever witnessed.
Once saw a guy at a bar try to impress his date by ordering the most expensive drink, only to discover he couldn't afford it when the bill came. He tried to talk the bartender into giving it for free, claiming it was bad marketing to charge that much anyway. The whole scene was a mix of embarrassing and bewildering, especially when his date ended up paying to avoid further embarrassment.
Almost date rape.
I was walking past a table and a blackout drunk girl managed to pull me in close and say I don't want to go home with him, with tears in her eyes. I was drunk myself and not ready to absorb that information. I kept an eye out for her, and a few minutes later her date was dragging her out of the bar and I see her trying to get her in an Uber. I ran out to the street, acted like her friend, quizzed him on who she was. He couldn't answer basic questions and I told him to fuck off. Got her to a new Uber program to her friend's house who was waiting for her.
Felt surreal as I'm conflicted at verse. She just kept saying thank you. Still haunts me knowing what almost happened.
A bartender at a dive bar was pretty wasted, to the point where she dropped a pint glass into the ice bin, shattered it, then proceeded to grab another glass and fill it with the ice/glass mix for a customer's drink. Saw myself and 6 of my friends get shot in small-town Ennis, Montana.
Good friend died that night.
3 life flights arrived. I was deemed non-recoverable.
I was hit right above my belly button.
The .45 round exited my L3 vertebrae and left me paralyzed from the waist down immediately. It severed my vena cava, my guts, pancreas and liver all got blown to bits.
It was intense to say the least. The guy who shot us, George Davis, got away.
He ran a stop sign in Lolo and a cop pulled him over. He jumped out of his car and shot the cop before he knew what was going on. Big police chase. Couple cop cars got shot up. They finally spiked his tires at the MT/ID border and rammed into his car. All that footage was in the intro to wildest police chase videos that used to be on TV. There was never any rhyme or reason for his actions.
He's now serving the longest sentence ever given in MT at the Deer Lodge prison. Getting shot is easy. Recovering, that's tough. I appreciate the little things nowadays. Hard to have a bad day when you've experienced real tragedy.
I saw a guy passed out head down on the bar. He laid there for 30+ minutes before someone checked on him. He drowned in his own puke. When someone pulled up his head his lips were blue, he'd been dead that long.
Bar fight.
I'm sitting at the bar, a couple of guys are arguing 2 seats down from me. One of the guys picks up his almost empty rocks glass and smashed it straight into a guy's face, rim first. Shattered, blood everywhere. I closed out and ditched before the cops got there.
Was at a bar with a friend, visiting a town we don't live in.
At another table, some guy was arguing with his GF loudly. It sounded like it might erupt in violence at any minute, so we paid attention. Suddenly, he grabbed his GF by the back of the head and slammed her face into the table.
Before I knew it, my friend and I were standing up.
We're both about 5 feet 7 inches, shorter than this muscle-bound galoot, but my friend can look pretty intimidating. I, on the other hand, am much more slight and not intimidating at all.
My friend went to confront the galoot.
My friend went to confront the galoot, telling him he can't do that to his GF. I decided to move behind the galoot and grabbed a chair. If punches were thrown, I figured I had one chance to whack this guy from behind and run like hell if necessary.
My friend argued with the galoot for a while, and he and his GF left the bar. Afterwards, I asked the bartender why we were the only ones to confront this guy.
Everyone else here has seen him fight, was the response. Drunk lady sat in the trash can near the bar instead of on a stool. She tries to wriggle out of it before I could reach out and help her. She fell on her side, along with the trash can. She ended covered in whatever trash you find in an 80s punk rock band. A fight breaks out, dude pulls a gun and fires in careless abandon at the other dude he's fighting with. Kills him and wounds 5 others until another patron body slams the shooter to the ground and forced the gun out of his hand.
Bar emptied out faster than cockroaches in the light.
I bartended at the lower-level casinos in Reno, Calneva, and the Silver Club in Sparks. Witnessed a very angry woman order a red wine which she shot at the dude she was with wearing a white suit, and an annoying Packers fan screaming cheesehead during Monday Night Football, and he finally broke a beer bottle over his own head. Lots of blood. I had to tell the new barback don't approach this without gloves.
Didn't listen.
2 guys playing pool in a North Idaho tavern for $1 a ball.
They disagree on a foul. Guy 1 asks Guy 2 to step outside. Outside, Guy 1 pulls a shotgun from the hatchback and opens up the chest of Guy 2. Guy 2 lives for the first 500 feet of the car ride to the hospital.
Loss of life over a few dollars, alcohol and pride.
Times a million and we call it war.
I was a bartender in a casino. I was working a night shift. About 11 p.m. I noticed a fight starting.
In the 2 seconds it took to reach zone and hit the duress, it went from 2 guys to about 8.
Someone picked up a wooden stool and clobbered someone on the head from behind. I expected it to shatter like in the movies, but no, it made a dull thud sound and the victim just folded. He was unconscious and bleeding badly. I still remember the way the blood stained the carpet. Then security and the police based in the casino rushed in. Someone got tasered, everyone got punched and arrested. Appropriately, this was Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas.
Ha ha. Probably not the worst, but first to come to mind.
Once watched 2 really drunk guys in an army bowling alley playing the old arcade game Night Driver with the challenge that whoever got the highest score was driving home.
My wife has a great one.
While sitting at a bar, 2 guys dressed up somewhat with button-down silk shirts and nice pants were arguing about something random while eating food. They started getting louder in what sounded like a Slavic language. In the midst of their arguing, one of the guys grabs his fork and slams it into the chest of the other guy. They both immediately stop arguing. The guy with the fork sticking out of his chest grabs the fork and rips it out.
He looks down at the slowly spreading blood stain from his chest and goes, "Ah man, you ruined my shirt." Then they go back to eating and arguing like nothing happened. And that's the day my wife learned that you don't fuck with Serbians. Sitting on the patio of a bar, we saw a drunk guy on a bicycle get T-boned by a truck that ran the stop sign. Huge crash, the guy flew up on the windshield of the truck, all sprawled out, and my first thought was that he was dead. Then, almost immediately, he rolled off the windshield, grabbed his bike, got right in my face and yelled "whoa." Then jumped on his bike and rode off into the night. Went to a dive bar in Tucson, early 2000s. There was a group of about 10 of us, all graduate school students. 2 of the guys in the group were black. No one was very drunk or acting crazy. One of the locals walks up to one member of the group and whispers something to him. Then everyone starts sharing the secret. I was one of the last ones to figure out what was going on. But by the time the secret reached me, I realized there's a group of rednecks standing up and eyeing us. One of the guys in our group started plowing us out the door with his arms. Come to find out, black people weren't welcome there by the locals even though they served us. We quickly left, but one of the black guys already had a drink and was trying to carry it out, and when he realized he couldn't walk down the street with it, he said he didn't want to leave until he finished his drink. Luckily he wasn't the type to tussle, so he finished his beer pretty quickly. I was like, shit, that's the most racist thing I've ever seen. And I grew up in South DeKalb outside Atlanta. I've seen a lot of racial tension, especially as the county changed demographics and during the Rodney King riots, but I had never seen that 1960s type shit.